This is the 2025 Chevrolet Equinox EV. And since the Chevy Bolt is out of production for now, it's the least expensive General Motors EV on sale today. So I'm going to test it and see just how well it does. So this one is an LT model with front-wheel drive, and it is currently the cheapest one that you can buy. Also, Chevy has simplified the trim choices from the previous year. This is a 2025, and now there's just two. This LT or an RS, and both of them can be had with either front or all-wheel drive. So the Equinox EV faces some stiff competition from the likes of the Ioniq 5, the ID.4, the Ford Mustang Mach-E, and of course, let's not forget the Tesla Model Y. Now, interestingly, this has exterior dimensions that are slightly larger than those vehicles, but it has less interior space. But you know what? It really looks quite cool, a lot better than most of those competitors. So it actually looks pretty cool at the front too. It doesn't have a huge sort of fake radiator grille. I like this treatment right here. This badge should be black, but you can change that. It's got these two sort of like cool looking lights embedded here, and then this LED strip for the headlights. Looks a little angry. I think it looks pretty cool. So at the back it has a stylish and modern look, not weird or quirky so as not to scare off potential buyers. Along the back here you've got this strip light here, and then it's got this sort of little spoiler right here with the embedded brake light, steeper here, and then this tiny little sort of like hump at the back. It really does look purposeful. You got to use human power to open the tailgate, revealing quite a nice space. In the back here you got about 26.2 cubic feet of space, and then if you put these seats down you've got around 57.4. There's a little cubby on this side, and then when you open this up you've got your 110 volt charger, but quite a lot of space in the back here, some additional space there. I tell you what, the quality of this carpet is actually pretty good. This one comes with these 19-inch wheels that are standard. Actually, I think they're pretty nice. They're wearing these Michelin Primacy all-season tires. Pretty good tire, 245 55s all around. Suspension, struts at the front, multi-link at the rear, and then these rotors are 12.6 inches and 12.4 inches at the back. So under the hood, you get a single motor driving the front wheels. Last year's model had 213 horsepower, 236 foot-pounds of torque. This one's had a bump in power to 220 horsepower and 243 foot-pounds of torque. If you get the dual motor one, that's good for 300 horsepower, which has also been bumped, and 355 foot-pounds of torque. The all-wheel drive is good for around 5.5 seconds to 60. This one is a little slower. It'll do it in around 7.5 seconds. So all models, front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive, come with an 85 kilowatt Ultium battery. On this one, the front driver, it's good for 319 miles of range, a bit less on the all-wheel drive model. Charging speeds are up to 150 kilowatts. Some of the competition can do so faster, like the Ioniq 5. And then it's got an 11.5 kilowatt onboard charger for charging at home. So all models come with some form of driver assistance. This one has got automatic emergency braking, it's got lane keep assist, and automatic headlamps. So how much is this, or how little is this car? It's surprisingly cheap. $33,600 for this car is the MSRP, but that doesn't include any possible federal incentives that can be up to $7,500. It is an absolute bargain. Add destination to that and you're at $34,995. So there's acres of space in the back. It's very roomy. These seats are decently comfortable, but they are covered in this sort of really hard wearing material. That's the price that you don't pay for the base model. Good legroom too. This seat's actually in my driving position. Headroom's okay despite the cool sloping roof. You also get an armrest with a couple of cup holders, so they haven't tried to save money there. You get vents, which several inexpensive cars do not give you, and two USBs. So I'm very impressed as to how well GM has managed to make this car not feel like a stripped out base model. And I know it has cloth seats, but they're decently comfortable. They've got good bolstering. The steering wheel is really nice. It's kind of a thick steering wheel. It's plastic, not leather, but it feels really nice. The plastics in the car are really nice quality, soft feel plastics, this sort of rubberized pattern on here, even nice plastics on the dash. Really good job for $33,600. I don't know why you would add any more options. It has most of the things that most people would want. It simply just doesn't feel rental car grade, which has been something that GM has managed to do quite easily in the past. This feels quite upmarket in here. So dominating this dash is this 17.7 inch diagonal center screen. It's standard on all trim levels, and it's the largest center screen among EVs in this particular class. So just like in the Blazer and the EV, the screen is super impressive and it responds really quickly to inputs. It's fast. You can change audio, maps, phone, vehicle status, charging, fast charge prep, etc. You can even switch to drive modes, normal, sport. We're going to do some sport on this little road that we're on right now. Everything has gone sort of red and angry, but really, really cool graphics. Downside is it doesn't support Apple CarPlay, but it does feature Google's built-in software suite. It's got Spotify and it's got Google Maps. And then one thing that's missing from this car, and it's not something that you need, but there is no start button. So the brake pedal is really what you use to start the car. Once you get in with the key fob in your pocket, you basically hit the brake pedal and then go ahead and change to drive. Might seem a little bit odd for people that are new to EVs, but it's fine. And once you step one leg out, the car shuts off. Here's your Google Assistant. Maps load super fast. Sport mode gives you a more responsive driving experience, increases power output and tightens vehicle handling. Will remain on at next vehicle startup, which is my biggest problem with the ones that reset back to normal. And then you also have various different levels of regen. You got one pedal high. You can set the level to normal or off. High is my favorite because it just comes to a complete stop. You see a red light, you back off, the car stops. No need to use the brakes. Head of the driver, you get a nice digital dash, speedo in the middle, you've got your current state of charge, odometer, how many miles of range you got, 255 miles of range, that'll go down. Now I've entered sport mode. And then underneath this floating center console, you get some more space. Right, so let's take it for a drive in sport mode. All right, sport mode engaged. Let's see if it feels any quicker in sport mode. It feels brisk, but not massively quick. But it feels a little livelier in sport mode. And it is ironing out this awful pavement very well. Yeah, it feels like I've got a little bit more zip going on here than in normal mode. I like that. I should have turned this on earlier. Of course, we're going uphill, so it makes it just a tad more difficult to really see if it's much quicker, but kind of impressive. Slow down for this. Still no braking. So I used the brakes like once today. That's pretty much it. It's a tidy little handler, this thing. Wheels, you can feel the traction control kicking in there. The front wheels are slightly losing grip. Not a whole lot. All right, so we just turned onto some, well, definitely better paved roads and less twisty than before. So let's see how this thing goes. Steering wheel is quite thick. It's a very chunky steering wheel. Now this is a front driver, so it does have a bit of a tendency to torque steer a little bit. I wish it was like the Blazer, which is rear wheel drive, but it isn't. Of course, you can get the all-wheel drive version of this with dual motors, and you're gonna get a little bit more performance. But this one is a good one to test if you only have 35,000 and change. But you pay for it with not quite the power that I would want, but I think it's probably good enough for most people. It rides really quietly. There's a little bit of wind noise around this mirror, and the regen is actually really good. The car will come to a complete halt. Handling wise, it feels like a front drive car. So you can't really go too fast around these turns. Definitely zippy. You know, 0 to 60 in 7.5 seconds is not bad, but it always feels quicker in an EV. Now when I set off, this had about 320 miles of range, and we got about 282, so it's impressive, 82% of the battery left. All right, passing maneuver here. It's got enough to get past. Not enough for me though. Track's pretty straight in a straight line. Here's a turn. It does feel, it's pretty planted. These tires are good, they're Michelin's. It does feel pretty planted in these turns, but just a tad twitchy. All right, let's get past this white van here and head up this hill. So it struggles a little bit up a hill like this, and the gasometer is rapidly clicking off miles as we do it, but I'm not worried. We've got 258 miles left. All right, long sweeping left-hander, actually pretty decently composed. The suspension's nice. The little bit of bolstering I got in my seat there is holding me in. Got a really long, tight turn here. A little bit of brakes there for the first time. All right, and then sweeping around here. Let's see what these tires will do. If they're making a little bit of noise. Not bad, actually. It held on pretty well. All right, and we're back where we started. So what do we think? Well, the Equinox EV is priced, excuse the pun, right on the money. It's not quite cheap enough to serve as a Bolt replacement. That car should return at some point, but we don't know when. But it does compete really well with the Ioniq 5 and the Mustang Mach-E. It just lacks a little bit in charging speeds. For me though, this one's a little slow, but you've got options, and I'd pony up the extra $3,000 and get the all-wheel drive version. Once again, thanks for watching. We appreciate it. Like, subscribe, and we'll catch you next time with another video.